Hi, I'm Billy, and today we're going to talk about management strategies of Apple Inc. Where did it all start? Well, I'd like to go over the past and the present, leadership styles, and corporate culture. You see, management strategies are a roadmap and it sets out the destination of a company. It gives direction on how it's going to get there. And them directions are set out by CEOs. And along Apple's way, when it started in 1977, there has been 7 CEOs over the company. However, there's been a lot of twists and turns. It hasn't always been a fairy tale. So I'm not going to start with the beginning. I would like to start with 1997 when Steve Jobs was a co-founder and he took interim CEO position and he turned out to be CEO later until he died in 2011, at which time Tim Cook took over. Apple has not always been successful, although they're tremendously successful today. Well, its leadership styles has really driven its destination. And the 2 leaders that I want to talk about is Steve Jobs and Tim Cook. And since 1997, when Steve Jobs took over, his management strategies were a little different. He liked to micromanage all aspects of the business. He felt like he needed to be the one to make decisions in every area. He reinvented Apple products and made them great. And that was his plan and his strategy was to reinvent the ordinary products that they already have. They didn't recreate them or create new ones. They created what they already had and they reinvented it and they made it better. He became very competitive. He wanted to stay ahead of the competitors and stay ahead of everybody in the market. And that was one of his other strategies. He also was very passionate yet obsessive about his business. And his strategies drove the business to where it is ultimately at today. Steve Jobs was considered a demigod and a genius by most people who worked with him in the latter part of his career. He was secretive and he was very competitive, and that was part of his strategy. His strategy was not to let the other people know what he was working on. In fact, he kept it a secret even within the business. He didn't like the inventors to talk about the projects they were working on amongst themselves. He wanted that to be a secret. He wanted to unveil a new product and really have an shock and awe effect to that product. He also kind of monopolized the spotlight. He didn't want any other CEO or executive in the business to discuss anything about the aspect of the business. That was one of the ways that he kept things secretive. He kind of hoarded dividends and he did not like acquisitions. His strategies was unique to Steve Jobs, and that's what made Steve Jobs famous today. Well, he was a CEO until 2011, at which time he passed on, and that leadership style transitioned to Tim Cook, and Tim Cook took over in 2011, and he's still currently the CEO of Apple Corporation or Incorporated. Tim Cook has a very different approach to leadership styles and his strategies to get the company to where he wants it to go. He has a very open and honest aura about his management style. He likes for his inventors to communicate and talk and compare and grow from each other's excellence. He's very cooperative. He likes to work well within the organization. He's a very stable and high-profile leader. Tim Cook is very business-minded. He communicates and collaborates with the staff. And in fact, he's delegated a lot of his authority where Steve Jobs monopolized that authority. Tim Cook, on the other hand, has shared that authority with other executives within the company. He includes that top management in decision making, so that it's not all the CEO's choices like it was when Steve Jobs took over. Tim Cook shares in that. In fact, he has set out different teams, an acquisition team, in fact, which was part of the purchase of a $3 billion audio company called Beats. Tim Cook also provides dividends and buybacks to the point of $92.6 billion. So Tim Cook's strategies are a bit different than Steve Jobs. However, they still share in the same corporate cultures. He's just smoothed out some of the edges and changed them to be a little more Tim Cook. Tim Cook's leadership style supports a lot of different things that Steve Jobs never focused on. Tim Cook likes the public issues. He supports immigration and human rights. He encourages cooperation and visibility. He inspires charitable contributions. He publicly credits all of his associates and his executives in the company. So there's a lot of difference between Steve Jobs and Tim Cook. However, their corporate culture is very, very much the same. In the end of that destination, at the end of the roadmap, they still share the same goals for the company. And that was driven by passion and its reinvention of their ordinary products to make them better. They intellectually use excellence to create them products. Apple Incorporated has one thing in mind, and that's to reinvent innovative products. They stay ahead of their competitor. They offer technological innovations and services. They strive for simplicity and sleek design. They continually strive for excellence. And they have one vision, and that vision hasn't changed with either of the CEOs that have currently been in place. And that vision is to offer the best computing experience for students, educators, consumers, creative professionals through innovative hardware, software, and the internet. You see, I've presented to you the past and the present, some of the leadership styles and the differences, and that shared corporate culture. And I hope you can see, as I can see, how well that it has served Apple Incorporated. They will go on for years and grow with that strategy in mind. Thank you.